story time. Hey guys, it's Sophia Dodolo. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new, welcome. I think you're probably gonna want to subscribe and follow me on Instagram. I'm Sophia Rose Dodola. My business accounts are Olive and Nectar and the Grays Academy. Okay, so I created this course because there were so many mistakes that I made in my business, and I thought, let me just put everything I learned in one place on how to start a business in this field. And I don't talk about in the course all the potential mistakes that you can make, but I just show you and tell you what to do. So I thought this would be such a great video on the mistakes that can happen. And if you've been on the fence of like whether you should take this course or not, or kind of just go for it on your own because you've got the following, you've got the aesthetic and the photos, and maybe you've even done a couple things for some friends and they paid you. Well, that's great, but maybe in a year or in a week, a big corporate client's going to reach out to you and you don't have everything you need in place. So I'm here to talk about my story, and hopefully it inspires you to take the next leap in your business, to do your business the right way. So let's get to it. Okay, so the first story is I did a grazing table. It was my first grazing table I ever did, and I did not know how much to spend. I did not know how much to buy, and I didn't know that I should prep. Well, A, at a commercial kitchen, but B, I didn't even know that I should prep in advance, period. I actually ended up prepping at the event before. So it started at 7 and I got there at like, I think 12. And I took my time prepping because they did say you can use our kitchen. So I took like 6 hours prepping. I didn't know how long or how fast I could get it done. And I ended up getting it done in time. But man, it took so much time, and just having it be sitting out on the table for a minute and having all my Tupperware and prep stuff, it just kind of looked messy and everyone could see what I was doing. So I didn't like that. I definitely learned not to prep at the event itself and to prep the morning of or the day before with some of the items. So that was a really good, valuable lesson. Number 2 thing that I learned was Tupperwares. Oh my gosh. So once upon a time, every single time, I used Tupperwares for everything. I didn't use Ziploc bags or paper bags or anything that I could recycle. I used Tupperwares. And this was so much fun because after every single event, I had over 50 Tupperwares to clean. So I learned a very big lesson there, and that was to only use Tupperwares for my things that are kind of squishy or I don't want them to break. The third thing was, once upon a time, I signed up for an LLC. In California, it's different. It's about $800 a year depending on how much you profit. And I know in some different, some areas, it's like $50 a year depending on how much you make. So I made Olive and Nectar and LLC, and then once I saw the bill for $800 coming in, I was like, wait, what? I haven't even made that. Like, I can't. And I was working my full-time job. I was like, I cannot afford to pay that, and it's just gonna be that every year. I don't want to commit to that. So I pulled out of that. But that was, that's a lot of paperwork, and that's a lot of stuff to go into, and then to cancel it all, it's even more paperwork. So that was another lesson I learned. So do your research before you decide on what entity you're going with. We love sleep, don't we? So once upon a time, I slept through my alarm for an event that I had to be at 7 a.m. I woke up at 7 a.m. I set like 4 alarms, and I don't really know what to tell you guys. I'm just telling you, don't sleep in, but I slept in through 4. So what I would do differently is, since that happened and I slept through them all, I'll set a really loud, annoying alarm across the bedroom, because what happened was it was so close to the bed that I snoozed it several times, and maybe it was like a really soothing Bob Marley song. I don't know. But make sure your alarms are loud, annoying, and not near your bed for you to subconsciously or half asleep snooze, because that happened to me. And granted, They've hired me several times after that incident, but still, that could have been a really big deal showing up 45 minutes late to a grazing table. So always be punctual. Once upon a time, I did not do the math of my boards and grazing tables. So what I mean by this is the price of my boards were more affordable if you bought like say 6 to 10 of them versus a grazing table. So one time I had this woman buy 6 24-inch boards, and that's what I used to do. These guys were huge. And she bought 6 of them to save money because the grazing table was more. But I learned my lesson there because I will never deliver 6 massive boards like that again. Not only was it so heavy to deliver and I had to rent a vehicle, but one of the boards fell apart in the car. Luckily, I had everything food safe and it was wrapped, so it just was touching the wrap on the top and I had to fix things together. But I didn't price it right. So now it's like, it looks better. With the grazing tables, it's a per person rate, and the boards, I don't do as much anymore. But after that incident, I still had the boards, but they were priced actually pretty expensive. So I think I had them at $250, those 24-inch ones. And I said minimum of 2 orders. I changed that. I added that to the website, because I really just wanted to do grazing tables. So if you guys really just want to do boards, then maybe make your grazing tables more expensive. And then that way your boards are more affordable and you can do those. But grazing tables are where it's at. Once upon a several times, I did not create a budget when I was shopping for a grazing table. And this has happened so many times. Okay, so I didn't create a budget. They wanted an Italian themed table. I went to Italy, which is this Italian themed like beautiful market in Century City, and I spent so much money, and it was for 500 people. So I didn't buy everything there. I did buy the budget and then some there, but I didn't buy like the fruits and the vegetables and the things that are really needed to fill space. I bought some cheese, meats, breads, more cheese, and probably some like Italian honey and props. I bought props. You guys, don't buy props with your budget. Once you have a budget in place, don't buy props. Do that separately on a different check, okay? But anyway, I paid I think the event, I don't know what the invoice balance was, but I know that I needed more food, and I turned out negative on that one because I went crazy at Italy. So always show up with a budget. This happened to me. I didn't learn my lesson, by the way, because if you're not keeping track of your expenses, your receipts, your bank account, and invoicing and kitchen and equipment, if you're not keeping track of that, you don't know how much is coming in, and you also don't know how much is going out. So after this mistake happened at least 3 or 4 times to me where I overspent, and I saw, oh, why am I making out negative if all my invoices are over $1,000? Why do I have no profit? Well, I looked and I was overspending. So then I created this formula after many tables and much experience. I have a super simple formula that you can have when you join BBB, and it basically breaks it down, your per person, how much food you need. And it does work for some boards and boxes as well. Lastly, once upon a time, I worked with an influencer who was on The Bachelor, not going to name drop, and it was her baby shower at some little event in Silver Lake. And I did a beautiful grazing table at this coffee shop that they rented out. So I used their flat lay that they had where like usually the coffee goes, and I made this table. And I did not create a service agreement with her. Why do you need a service agreement? Well, let me just tell you about the story first. I do this table. I spend probably $300 out of pocket. And she posts the photo, I think a month later, amongst 4 or 5 other photos. But where did my photo show up? My photo showed up third or fourth on that carousel of photos. How did I know that she even posted it? Oh, she tagged me. But where did she tag me at? At the bottom of the caption. So when you go to that post, if she pops up or you followed her or whatever, you scroll through, not only was it a dull, muted photo from the photographer, it did not showcase my quality of work by any means. So what I learned from this experience was to have a service agreement in place. You want to be so clear on, do you get to choose the photo that they post so that you know it's quality? Do you have a say on if it is a multi-pic post, are you the first or the second photo, or do you not care being fourth? And third of all, super important, in the caption, where are you tagged? Because all of the nectar was tagged at the very bottom of that caption, and that doesn't do me any good because most people just read the early photo. So it's better if they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy I had all of the nectar at my baby shower. Then bam, they're like, her followers want that because she's excited about it. But was she excited about it? No. Was I excited about it? No. So that was a really good lesson for me. Okay, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little story time of some mistakes that I've made. I'm sure I could think of more, and maybe we'll do a part 2 if you really liked this. Comment below and let me know. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on social media. All of my social media accounts are in the description below. See you guys later.